everybody, it's Romania Black, and I'm not wearing sports clothes today, but we are doing Ace of the Diamond, and since Sawamura is starting the semifinal game, it's Taurus season, baby! So I decided to wear this shirt with a bull on it because, you know, Tauruses are bulls, Sawamura is a Taurus, I'm a Taurus, so it seemed to fit. But we are on episode 6 of Act 2, Season 2, and we're getting ready to start the semifinal game, I think. Possibly, probably, we hope. And I'm super excited because I've read the manga. It's been a hot second. I've forgotten some of the minor details, which is going to make watching this episode really fun. But I think we're about to do the semifinal game, and I really like that game. So we're going to see what all we get. So that's pretty exciting. The only comment that I have is from Kelsey from episode 5, where they said, unfortunately, Nori's injury that we got into last episode is quite common in pitchers. The elbow area of the pitching arm is often the first injury pitchers will get if it's not their knees or their ankle or something. Damn baseball elbow. I feel like the elbow is often the subject of many injuries. It's like tennis elbow. It's like, you know, your pitching arm. It's like this little hinge here doesn't have a lot guarding it. So it's like, unless you've built up that muscle, it's really just, even if you do, the tendons and stuff are so easy to get messed up. So that sucks. But yeah, so I'm super excited about this episode to come. I hope you all are as well. Watching week to week is a very different experience because I'm used to having 3 episodes, being able to chuck through and pace it. Now having to do week to week, I'm like, But that's what you all had to deal with, so I get to suffer alongside of you. I do want to give a shout out real quick before we start over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. If you're on my Patreon, you can see the different tiers that I have. The philanthropy tier donate a little extra each month, and because they do that, I mention them in my videos. So I want to give a shout out because we have a lot this month and I'm super excited about it. Alexandra Q, Aqua 2000, Amorphosilica, Alex Cornejo, Be Happy, Destiny Marie, Dana, Diana Williams, Daniel Ichu, Devorin, Damage 3245, Erica Fisho, Frank Acevedo, James Ghostly Turnip, Jessica Cullen, Jason N, Lyndon Elfreya, Murphy, Nicholas, Mia Himigopher, Jack Witt, Poppy, Rose Jennison, Rast, Sugamom, Sunspot, Shimiyama, Translucent Men, Violet Stardust, as well as Yanin, Zero Anti-Zero, and Zachiel. Thank you so much for all of your support of the channel. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So with that being said, we are going to get started and see what all we get for Ace of the Diamond, Act 2, Season 2, Episode 6. I'm super excited. Hope you all are as well. But please make sure you like this video, comment down below, and we're going to get started here in 3, 2, 1, and let's see what we get. Aha! I'm really glad with the pacing of this episode. This is a good start to Ace of the Diamond's semifinal game with Ichidai. This is I hope people stick around after episode 4 because I know a lot of people were complaining about episode 4 and the pacing and having to get to where we are, and I get those games feeling rushed, and I get people being upset, and if I wasn't so excited about the semifinal game, I probably would have been in the same boat, but I kind of was a little impatient being like, I just need to get to the semifinal game. And the stuff leading up to it, like what we got with episode 5 and then this episode. So on the one hand, yes, I feel the frustration, but on the other hand, I was like, I'm glad to be here. And we're here now as I throw this Huckleberry, and so we can kind of savor it, but we need to just go ahead and bring up the screenshots to go with this episode if we're going to talk about it. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. I had honestly forgotten about Katioka's decision here because I was like, when they ended off the episode, it very much was, what are we going to do? And this definitely is Miyuki realizing the possibility that not every player from Sato is one going to become pro, and 2 even has that goal in mind or believes that that's a possibility. And so for a high school kid, this is pretty, earth-shaking because you all have worked so hard as a team for this moment, And for Miyuki, Miyuki has had his sights on, I think, what he wants to do for a while. He just hasn't really felt the need to vocalize it or put that into the universe, but he's probably been thinking about it. But when Nori comes out and says he doesn't anticipate going pro or doing any baseball after high school, that kind of like rocks Miyuki a little bit. Like, oh, what do I do with this information? And we've all been working so hard. What do you mean you're okay with pitching and that being it? And I'm really glad that Katioka acknowledges that he's a pitcher too. So he was a pitcher when he was in high school. He was a pitcher when he played after high school. He understands the pressure and the feeling and the responsibility and the desire to do what you do. But I love as a coach that he says no. He's like, until we get those test results back, until we know you are good to go, I'm not going to let you do it. And it comes from a place of multiple thoughts. So on the one hand, he's being a coach that cares about his students and he cares about his kids and their well-being. So that's great, first of all. Two, he's caring about, being a pitcher and trying to save his arm if he can, even though he knows Nori's like impatient and wants to go ahead through it. He's like, you're a kid, I'm an adult, I'm going to make the call that you are being too impatient to make. But three, from a strategic angle, if Katioka is thinking that there is a chance that Kawakami is going to be good to pitch, he's like, I'm not going to throw that away in this semifinal game when we know Sawamura has a new pitch. He's riding a high. He's got good hopes with it. Furuya's on fire. He's like, we've got these two. Ichidai is going to be a hard opponent. Not to say that they're not going to be, but he's like, these two pitchers are ready. And I have a feeling, I'm sure Katioka is thinking Inashiro is going to be in the final. Like, he's thinking that. So he's like, if I'm going to save you and there's a chance we could use you, we're going to do it in the final game. We're not going to do it in the semifinal. Because if I play you now in the semifinal and you mess that elbow up even more, and then we get to the pressure of the finals and beyond, he's like, no, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to risk it. So I love that Katioka, he doesn't have to say it. You can just kind of tell he's thinking of this from multiple angles. And you know what? It sucks. It sucks for Kawakami. I love how in the anime they adapted it. The manga, you could feel his frustration. You could feel Nori's frustration that he wants to play. He wants to practice. It's his third year. He doesn't want to sit out. You can feel that. But I love that Katioka's like, no. And you would think, Miyuki tried to bring it up with Chris. Chris played through it. And look what happened to him. But Nori's like, well, I'm not going to be a pro like Chris, so it's not going to matter. But even then, I'm glad that Katioka, he didn't insult Nori's pride by saying, like, you're not thinking of the long-term stuff. He didn't insult him or patronize him, but he was basically saying, like, I appreciate your sincerity, appreciate what you want to do. You are a valuable asset to this team. We are making a decision on what's best for you, and that's this. And it's like, okay, it all makes sense. It does. I think that Katioka makes a very good call here, and it just sucks for Nori that he has to be patient. It just sucks for Nori that he has to do that. They really are previewing, and you don't realize it till you watch the adaptation. They are previewing this top of this hill. Miyuki standing there, and Sawamura and Furuya just coming up to see him. Like, they are previewing this conversation that's going to happen at the end of this cour so much. The foreshadowing is so crazy. But even here, like, you really don't realize until you see it again how much Miyuki kind of has. Miyuki has a lot riding on his shoulders. Miyuki puts a little undue stress upon himself sometimes, where he just takes on everything and he's like, I can handle it. I can do it. I think Yuki making him the captain, he knew that Miyuki would be able to handle it and he'd be able to excel and thrive in that role, and it would kind of force him to bring himself together and mature himself a little bit. But I think sometimes Miyuki kind of puts a little too much on himself, where he gets a little too into it. Not in a bad way necessarily, but he just really goes all in. He's like Sawamura. He goes all in, right? It just in a different facet. So you could see him standing up here on the hill, processing everything that's happened with Nori, not going to bring it up in front of Sawamura and Furuya because he doesn't want to make them have pressure, but that just means he has to kind of shoulder it himself. And that's a lot to bear. That's a lot to shoulder for one person. And Miyuki kind of just, he takes it all in stride. He really does. I love this shot because having Miyuki up there as the captain and the catcher and his two main pitchers down there standing equally side by side. It's a good little shot there. I like that. It's going to be another scorcher today. I like that he says that, and Furuya's like, okay, because Furuya, as we know, does not typically perform well when it's really, really hot outside. Our poor boy is cold-natured from Hokkaido, right? So he's used to being a little bit more temperate. So I think, though, Furuya is going to be fine. I honestly don't remember if we even used Furuya in the semifinal game. I don't remember. I don't recall. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Maybe if Sawamura pitches the whole thing. I don't remember. That'll be fun to see as we go if they actually end up taking him out or not, because that part I don't quite remember. But Furuya's ready. He's like, I'm gonna be there if you need me. And Sawamura is just on fire. Sawamura is like ready to go. But even here, Miyuki not showing like his eyes through the glasses. Like Miyuki is contemplating, thinking about a lot of things, not wanting to stress these two pitchers out, but realizing they don't have Nori. Kaneda is there. I forgot about Kaneda. I forgot Kaneda was a pitcher. Forgot about that. Poor Kaneda erasure happening. Damn, we got a lot of good pitchers. I do think Ochi is correct, though, and I say that with a lot of disgust that I have to admit it, but I do think Ochi is correct that Kaneda would not do well in this game at all. That's like a last resort. And then Asada's not even on the field. Asada's in the stands. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be Furuya and Sawamura today. But our boy is ready. He has never been more ready in his life to take on something. And good for him. Whenever people are like, talking about Sawamura's growth, I'm like, if you watched season 2, act 1, if you went through the yips, if you went through all the training, all of the trenches Sawamura had to dig himself out of, I feel like if you can make it through Sawamura at the lowest of his lows, if you can make it through that, then from here on out, it is rewarding Sawamura for going through all of that struggle. Not to say that Sawamura is not going to struggle. We ended this episode with, a hit off of his, pitch. But if you can make it through the worst of the worst, then the series rewards you with showing the growth that its main character goes through and the maturity that he excels in. And it's just, it's so good. It's so good. And this game is like the start of that. And I'm like, so, okay, so our first game is going to be Ichidai versus Sato at 10 o'clock. And then at 12:30, they got to hustle this up. In 2 hours and 30 minutes, we're going to have Inashiro and Kokudai Sugata. And I'm so sorry, Kokudai. You might as well just hang it up now. Y'all know Inashiro is just going to, like, waylay them, right? Just going to waylay them. But yeah, so everybody's getting in there. We've got the whole Sawamura family has arrived. Sawamura's dad and grandpa are too cool for school. I freaking love the hairdos. I freaking love the sunglasses. The grandpa is like, if the grandpa was in an anime, he's like Dragon Ball Z. He'd probably be OP as hell. Like, if this were shown in anime. It's so good. And yeah, getting everybody set up. And then all the third years arriving. I love that Ryu is like front and center. Ryu is just like, I'm here. And then glad of Jesus to make the game. Stop healing folks to come. Chris looks so happy. I love seeing Chris in good spirits with the light in his eyes. Chris is one of my favorites. And his conversation, I also love that Chris and the third years get to see Miyuki and Sawamura and all of them at the top of their game, because, you start out season 1 and how kind of chaotic and discombobulated everybody was. And then to see them come together is just, it's very rewarding. Also, go Miyuki for winning a game of rock, paper, scissors. I don't remember if he wins the game versus Inashiro or not. I don't think so. I think this might be the one time he wins. And it's like the one time luck is on their side, right? He's like, yes! I love the canon that Miyuki kind of sucks at everything else except being a catcher. And a batter. He is, he's the 3 C's. He's captain, catcher, and cleanup. I feel like it's like he's great at that and nothing else. But you know what? The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. So yeah, and I love everyone is just surprised that he did well. Also, love his dub hat. Love that for him. They're like, you won at rock, paper, scissors. They're like, we thought your losing streak would continue. Hope you didn't use up all our good luck. Is Ichidai's captain just that weak? Katioka! I love Katioka's just like, you gonna take all that? I love the one time. Usually Miyuki is the one dishing out the insults and Miyuki's dishing out the teasing. So it's very rare that Miyuki gets to be on the receiving end of the teasing. So, but good for him. Knock him down a peg. Keep him humbled. That's so funny. And then, yeah, Ochi being, negative Nancy over here, being like, we're not going to have our closer for our game. It's like, shut up, Ochi. I do feel bad for Kawakami. I really do. And what makes it kind of worse is that other than Miyuki, the only one who knows about the why Kawakami is not pitching is Kawakami. And I don't blame him for being so down in the dumps in this moment. Like, you can just see him slumped over, like he's just so defeated. But the thing about it is nobody in the room other than Miyuki knows why he's not pitching. They just know he's not pitching. And so they're all probably like, oh, he's saving him for the finals. Just like what they did with Kosei. He's just doing that. But you would imagine that with Kawakami looking so dejected that there might be more to it. So Miyuki puts on a good poker face. Kawakami is not good at a poker face. He's just very sad. And Kaneda just like, I got this. Is Kaneda a second year too? I feel like he obviously has to be. He's not a first year. I forget who that blue-eyed guy behind Sawamura is. Like, who be he? I forget some of their, second string players. But yeah, this shot where Miyuki just knows Kawakami is so defeated, that's such a rough shot. I feel for Kawakami. Like, it would be miserable in the semifinal game to know that you couldn't be of use. Like, that's... Because Kawakami's whole thing is that he is the closer. He is the backup. He is there when things go awry. And to not have that opportunity... Like, the anime does a really good job of just showing that kind of despair he has in the moment. It sucks. It really does suck to be Kawakami in this game. But I feel like... I love that in the reaction. I was like, Ochi, are you going to say any positive words of encouragement? No? Okay, that's normal. I do love that he has a lot of reliable teammates that will make him not have to worry. And I hope that... I don't remember if we get to see anything like that for him in this game, but... Katioka has a good strategy. I stand by Katioka's decision for sure. And of course, Tamba has to tell them what's going on. Now, Ichidai assumes that they're going to be using Kawakami. They are assuming that. And so and the people in the stands, when they see Furuya warming up, they're like, oh, they're going to switch out Furuya and Sawamura very quickly because that's why they're warming him up instead of Kawakami. They have no idea that that's not the case. So... It's always interesting to see, what people think without knowing the behind-the-scenes stuff going on. And you could tell all the third years just feel for Kawakami. They're like, man, that sucks. But even Chris is like, I like that Chris is like, okay, like fair call. Like, he more than anyone else would probably be the most to sympathize. But yeah, so everybody comes out. An aggressive lineup. And Sawamura's like, I'm ready to take it on. And I think Miyuki, what's interesting is Miyuki seems to have a really good read on Furuya. Like, a lot of people comment that Miyuki and Furuya have a good connection, which I think bugs some people, because if they're, Sawamura and Miyuki shippers, they're like, why does Miyuki and Furuya have such a great connection? And I think it's because Furuya is pretty easy to read. Once you get a handle on Furuya, he's pretty easy to read. He's not complex. And I love that about Furuya. He's pretty easy to read once you get a handle on it. And Miyuki has. So him and Furuya are able to connect that way. What makes the dynamic of Sawamura and Miyuki interesting to me is that at this point in the series, they're in high school, Miyuki still hasn't quite figured Sawamura out. He thinks he knows Sawamura, and then Sawamura keeps him on his toes and surprises him, which, makes the relationship more spicy, makes the relationship more interesting. To me, it lends that when they won't fully understand each other until they're both pros playing on the same team. That's the end goal. That is end goals. They're going to play together in high school. Miyuki's going to graduate and go off and play. Sawamura and Koshu are going to develop a relationship. And then Sawamura's probably going to... This is all my headcanon. Sawamura's going to get transferred to a team that's not Miyuki's. And him and Miyuki are still going to be rivals and stuff like this. And then they're going to end up on the same team. and get each other and complete each other. The end. Like that's my goal, you know. In my head, that's how I see it going down. But I like that Miyuki is still trying to figure Sawamura out. He thinks he knows him, but he tries to like overcompensate. And he's like, oh, you know, we're going to pitch in Nori's absence. And Sawamura's like, I got it. And he's like, He's like, don't get freaked out. And Sawamura's like, got it. And he's like, ah. Like, I just love that Miyuki is on his toes around him. And then he sees Amahisa over there staring back at Sawamura, mano-y-mano, eye to eye. And what's so funny to me is that Miyuki gets jealous of Amahisa and Sawamura's, like, friendship. Friendship. Is it in air quotes? They are friends, aren't they? They're fellow pitchers. When the reality is, I'm like, oh Miyuki, Amahisa is not a threat to you. Amahisa and Sawamura are just buds. They're just bros. They're just trading pitching talk and just, you know, having a laugh, having a good time. But, you know, Amahisa is like, hey, I got a new pitch, you got a new pitch, let's go. Even though he doesn't know about the new pitch yet. And so Miyuki tries to, like, in my mind, overcompensate for a little bit as he's looking over to him. And he's like, all right. He's like, let's go get our hooks into them early. He knows what he's doing there. With a pitch they aren't expecting at all, the number 9. Oh, he knew. And he's like, these gremlins, look at them. I freaking love it. He gets Sawamura hyped up. He gets him riled up. And then one of my favorite shots, he's like, that's hype. And he's like, right. That's one of my favorite shots of the whole series. That one is one of my favorite shots of the whole series. Just these two gremlins, when they are in sync and they are on it and they're both like excited about what they're about to do together as a battery. It's just, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. It's just so good. Give me a battery that has this camaraderie in this relationship. Give me one. And Amahisa's like, well, I want to go over there and see what you guys are laughing about. Amahisa has a constant state of friendship FOMO. Amahisa is constantly in fear of missing out on the friendship. Like, he's like, my team are a bunch of baseball aliens. They're all cool. I dig them, but you know, they're not... We just don't always, they don't get me sometimes. And he's like, I just want to be friends with you guys too. I love that everyone treats Amahisa like he's this threat and like he's this constant like annoyance in a way when he's just trying to make friends. He's just trying to be buddies with them. It's just, I have a soft spot for Amahisa a lot. And when he's like, what are they laughing about? I love it. I freaking love it. So yeah, so we're at the semifinals. Starting this game out. The fam is watching. Super excited. The former Ichirai third years are there. And we get into Sawamura, Sato's ace. Look at them! I love it. I just love how proud they are of him. So cute. So yeah, watching makes me nervous. So we've got a debt to repay from the spring. Don't start out with a chip on your shoulder. It puts a lot of undue pressure on you. So yeah, everybody's already anticipating. And yeah, I do agree with Ochi. I hate to say it, but yeah, the lineup's too much for Kaneda. Bless his heart. I'm glad he's gung-ho about it, but I would love it if Sawamura and Furuya could finish the match between themselves. I'm like, Ochi, do you not have faith that they can do it? Really? I mean, the timing is something. But I feel like Katioka has really good instincts. Katioka has good instincts knowing when is the best time to take Sawamura out, when is the best time to put him back in. Like, I feel like Katioka has good instincts as far as that's concerned. I think he's pretty on it about that. So yeah, Sawamura started. I like that we get the parallel that both Sawamura and Amahisa usually start out a little slower or stiffer than usual, and they have to kind of warm up. And in this game, both of them, they looked each other in the eye and were like, not today. We are on fire. We are ready. We are on it. Like, these games are so much fun because I don't like useless drama. I don't like useless miscommunication. I'm like, just let them be the best that they are and see who is better. And this game is basically that. It's like, let's see who's the better of the two and let's go. And it's so much hype around this game. I love it. And of course, our ace, Sawamura, gives his opening speech. He is shameless And I love it. I love it so much. I love it for a couple reasons. One, because his team has accepted the fact that he is shameless and he's going to make this big old speech. And they're like, it riles them up because Sawamura is so fearless in that regard. I also love the idea that you kind of have to be shameless and fearless to be successful. You just have to be. You can't hold yourself back. Like, what's holding you back? Like, making this speech, what are you worried about? That people are going to think it's cringe? Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? If it makes you and your teammates feel better, that's all that matters. And you could see that all of Sato, they get it. They're like, this is our ace. This is how he functions. This is when we know he's on his game. Let's go. I love the umpire's like, what's going on? Why is he yelling? It's awesome. And of course, it riles the other team up. Because the other team's like, oh, is he talking smack? Is he like making us seem like we're not as good? Like, what? I love it. We're going to get a ton of outs, so have my back. That's my favorite part of his speech, because it's essentially Sawamura saying, I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes, but I have my team to back me up, and I'm counting on you to help us succeed. Like, even though Sawamura has some ego as a pitcher, like, there is no way in hell Mei would ever yell that to his team. There is no way. No. Mei's like, I'm the king. I've got this. And Amahisa's like, I'm a genius. I got this. But Sawamura's like, hey, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy standing on a mound, just throwing some pitches. You guys back me up, right? God, I love him for it. Yep. And then Asada's like, did he just say we're about to get a ton of outs? And Miyuki's like, he's on his game. We're all good. He's like, show a little restraint. Sawamura does not show restraint. Not when he's fired up. I love that the manager's like, I don't like that little speech of his. I love that he's frustrated by it. He's like, who's this kid think he is? Who does this kid think he is telling that about our team? Making us seem like we're no big deal. Like, I just like, for their manager to always be like, my boys, and always be positive, and him being like, I don't like that speech. And of course, like, Ichidai is all riled up. He's like, he's too big for his breeches. And he gives even Shimaru, he's just being like, okay. Shimaru being like so downtrodden every time you see him. It's almost funny. It is funny. Get him, Shimaru, my boy. I feel like Amahisa, one thing I love about his character is he is not dissuaded. He is not thrown off by anything like this. He's like, okay, let's go. Like, he gets so much shit, but I love Amahisa as a character. He's just so in it. He's just in it. Like, he is a little self-centered. He does get a little onto himself, like during the game before the quarterfinals when he was like, oh, I should just give up. Like, he does get in that self-loathing moment a little bit, but overall, he's such a likable character. I love Amahisa. He's probably one of my favorites in this whole series, honestly, just for his reactions and everything. So, and what I love is that here Miyuki is like, show some restraint, Sawamura, and then right out the gate, Miyuki's like, I want your new pitch. Show some restraint, Miyuki! No! Miyuki's like, we're just gonna do it. Like those two enable each other. Miyuki and Sawamura enable each other in the best way. They just egg each other on in the best way possible, and I love it. And what's so good is when they get in sync and when they're both on it, it's fantastic. Like, you know, if, like Mei, for example, we'll talk about Mei when we get to Inashiro, but I love the contrast between Sawamura and Mei, because Sawamura is Sawamura is like if Itsuki was a pitcher and more on fire, because Itsuki as a catcher for Inashiro is very attentive and very much trying to communicate with the pitcher and trying to like, okay, what do you want? What do I want? Let's work together. Let's make this happen. Let's make art together. Sawamura is the version of that, only the pitcher form from Sato. Mei is like, I know what I want, and you're going to do what I want. Or he's like, if you're going to boss me around, you better be better than me, which is what Harada does. So, God, I love it. It's great. So yeah, be careful with your aim. Sawamura has a great first inning. He does everything they don't expect, and he just is on fire. His pitching is so good. I love it. Yep. Just 3 up, 3 down. 3 up, 3 down. What else can we say? Like, what an excellent first inning. And I love that Amahisa's like, a new pitch. Like, it just... Amahisa, you know, is such a dork in the best way, but he's a dork for baseball. Like, he's kind of like Shoyo in Haikyuu with volleyball, where he just wants to learn new things and talk to people about them. Like, he's just a baseball freak, but in like the dorkiest best way. I love it. So yeah. And you know, his team is suffering. His team is striking out, and Amahisa's like, that's a new pitch, oh cool. But that also shows that Amahisa trusts his team. Like, he's not freaking out about his team getting these outs because he's like, oh, it's just the first inning. We're going to be fine. Like, he's not worried about it, which I think says a lot for his faith in his team in that moment. So, yeah. Nope. 3 up, 3 down. Good for him. I love Tama being like, yeah. And when Ryu smiles and goes, all right. That's when you know you're doing good. When Rio gives you the complimentary, like, smirk. And then Chris is just like, I love seeing our third years getting to watch Sawamura on his game. Like I've been waiting for that for so long. So yeah. Now, I think Ichidai's manager, for him to say, did Sawamura customize this pitch in the few days before the game? That, to me, because I was talking with Kelsey in the comments for episode 5, and we were talking about, you know, is Sawamura a prodigy or is he not? And I liked the way that Kelsey was saying, like, yeah, Sawamura has worked really hard. He has worked really hard. He's had his moments of faltering, but he has such a unique, like, wrist function as a pitcher that it kind of makes him seem like a prodigy, because you either have it or you don't, right? Some people can't build up that flexibility. And I also think that another sign of him kind of being a prodigy is that, yeah, he did customize it in a few days. He did do all that. He did think about that during Ichidai's game and figure out what he wanted to do. It's not necessarily like genius level, like, you know, it's not genius level like Kosei, and it's not quite the, like, natural inborn prodigy, like, shameless fearlessness like Mei, but it is a sign of a prodigy that you can do that and customize it that quickly. Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think Raichi's kind of a prodigy in terms of being a batter, because he instantly memorizes, like, the different balls that get thrown at him. So, you know, prodigies take different forms in this, and I kind of like that this series explores that a little bit. You're not just like, you don't have to be like an intellectual prodigy to be a baseball prodigy, you know. Also, the stuff with the grips, when I first started watching Ace of the Diamond, I knew nothing about baseball, and I thought they just threw the ball and hit it, which is so naive. But I did not at all understand that the seams impacted how you throw it, what happens with it, how it impacts the strike. Like, there is such an intricacy to figuring out how to tailor pitches and the physics of them that I had not taken into consideration whatsoever. Didn't take into consideration one bit. And now it's so cool seeing in this series just how kind of special it is and important it is to know what you're doing with the ball. But yeah. So then we have Miyagawa come up, and yeah, he gets up the cleanup and got impatient, and Sawamura did not give him what he wanted. Good job. So yeah, and Sawamura just on fire in the first inning. Love it. And he only had 6 pitches. 6 pitches in 1 inning? That's not bad at all. That's good. That's good. That'll do it. Keep that up. But yeah, he just might do this. They're looking in the same direction now. I need Chris to go sit down with the two of them after the end of this season and be like, okay, what we doing? You guys are both looking in the same direction. I wonder if he also means, like, beyond this game, or if they're both, like, in sync now compared to how they were. I mean, they've come a long way since the start of this series. I also think, you know what? Furuya and Koshu are an interesting battery, and I always think of Furuya more with Yui than I do with Koshu, but they are kind of interesting. I feel like they would be a really good... Koshu is going to be a great catcher his second year. He's going to be a great catcher his second year, because him and Sawamura are already, like, developing this bond and figuring each other out. And I think that Koshu and Furuya will just cement it, like, right off the bat, because I feel like Koshu is so chill and methodical, and Furuya is very straightforward and easy to understand, that they would mesh very well, right? But yeah, I also forget how freaking tall Furuya is. Like, Furuya, his waist is at Koshu's chest. That's crazy. That's crazy, the height difference. But yeah, so Furuya is not surprised that Miyuki would immediately have Sawamura bring those pitches out. But I want to also remind everybody, one of my favorite things about Furuya and Sawamura's relationship is that he calls Sawamura Eijun. He calls him by his first name. And there's nothing like, I know some people ship Sawamura and Furuya. I see the vision. You do you. I'm not a Furuya and Sawamura shipper, but I think it means a lot that he calls Sawamura by his first name. That he calls him by that, just as like a sign of respect, a sign of like camaraderie, a sign of brothership. Like, I love that so much that he calls him Eijun. Yep, Eijun's going to be riding a high now. Yep, because everything he's been planning since he talked to Nabe and Koshu is all coming into play. Yeah, he's been building up. People don't think that Sawamura is much of a thinker, but our boy is. I like Nabe's like, good. Glad that he's on our side. Glad he didn't go to Inashiro or somewhere else. I could not imagine Sawamura at Inashiro. Mei would kill him. Mei would have killed him and drug him into a ditch. Would have immediately. So I do wonder if them talking about Ichidai having a few substitutions was kind of also laying the foundation of them losing, because that does seem like, you know, whenever they say you've had some substitutions, it means there was a reason you switched somebody out. So I don't think that that is the case, but Kosei more than makes up for it. And they hint that everybody's trying to draft Kosei. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Kosei is a really good pitcher, and him and Mei would be like top of the draft picks in my book. Like, Mei and him would be top picks easily. So yeah, what kind of pitching? Also, Kosei is so handsome. He just is really well drawn. He is aesthetically pleasing. Miyuki should be jealous. I can see why Miyuki would be jealous, but I'm like, dude, y'all, Kosei's on a different team than you. But yeah. What kind of pitching will he show in this lineup? I felt so bad for Mochi, because Kuromochi also, what helps Miyuki and what helps the situation, or maybe hurts it, is Miyuki is jealous of Amahisa, and Kuromochi doesn't like him either. Like, if this were a sitcom, Amahisa would be like the friend of Sawamura's that Miyuki's always afraid is going to steal Sawamura away, and Kuromochi's like Sawamura's brother that's like, yeah, screw that guy, like trying to get him out too. So Kuromochi already did not like Amahisa, but I do love that Amahisa's like, everybody's doubting me in this game and I'm just not having it. We're just gonna like prove them wrong. Love it. And so Kuromochi manages to get on base. Like, good for him. I love that everybody's like, yes, he did it, but I love that from the first inning, Kosei is like, this is not going to be a game that you can predict so easily. Because he's like, oh, you think you're going to... Oh, also, somebody had noted, I think it was Kelsey, that in one of the previous episodes, they drew Haruichi with a metal bat, which he would never use. Here he's back to the wooden bat, so good for that. So yeah, Kuromochi thinks he's going to steal. And I love that Amahisa baited him. I think Amahisa could have maybe used that move later on, not just came out the gate with it, but then at the same time, he was setting the tone of, y'all ain't gonna steal on my watch, so don't. And he picked him off. That's crazy. Ugh. And Miyuki's just like, well, shit. There went our chance of having somebody on base. Damn. If I were Kuromochi, I would be pissed too, because you're known for being so fast and for having it and for him to pick you off. Amahisa is not making friends with Kuromochi or with Miyuki. Sucks. Sucks to be that. Man, I hate when people assume I'm not a pick-off man. It makes me want to defy their expectations. I love Kosei. That's just who I am. Unpredictable. So I do like that everybody encourages Mochi to just shrug it off. It's going to be fine. But damn, when he says, let's finish this off, that look, ooh! I love Sawamura with his eyes being golden, and Amahisa's are like golden all the time. Damn. This first inning, we got this first inning in this episode, and it's just rough. Also, what a way to foreshadow. What a way to foreshadow that we don't tick Shirasu off. What a way to foreshadow that, because I love the way they animated Amahisa in this episode. He looks so freaking good. But yeah, he looks so good in this episode. Again, they are foreshadowing that Shirasu, when he's mad, is going to be a force to be reckoned with, which, you know, down the road, we're going to see that, I believe, and it's going to be amazing. And so I was like, okay, Poor Ryu. With Ryu's eye. I love that Ryu, we never see his eyes open, but his eyebrows and mouth are so expressive. Like, you immediately are like, well, that sucks. And I like that Chris giving Kosei his flowers, saying, hey, the pitches he just did are, like, not at the college level, but that's what Amahisa's doing. Like, let's just, even though Sawamura's on his game, even though his pitch is just as good, Kosei's going to match him. And it kind of sets up the idea that, you know, you have Kosei pitching so well, Sawamura pitching so well, so that means that it's going to be up to your batters and your outfielders to really make the difference when your pitching is so strong on either side, right? You can't rely, because a lot of times, you know, one team, if they have a really strong pitcher, it's like, okay, we can kind of let up. We're good. No, there is no letting up in the semifinal. No. You're not letting up because both pitchers are amazing, which means that you're going to have to make it up some other way. Yeah. And then Ochi just being like, oh, I thought 3 runs was a good target to aim for. I'm like, shut up, Ochi. Like, he's like, I just don't know if we're going to get to that. Quit being a negative Nancy. It's the first inning, my dude. I am glad that they made Mochi feel a little better. Good job, Zono and Haruichi, being like, we're just getting started. We're going to rev it up, and we're going to get out there and do our job. So then we have Hoshida-kun, which I forgot that Hoshida was at that camp that Miyuki was at as well. Forgot about that. You know what? I don't think we have any right to judge what Hoshida is doing with his bat. Sleeping with the bat is a little bit much. I'm like, unless you are concerned about someone breaking into your house and you need it as a self-defense weapon, I'm a little questionable about his methods with his bat, but you know what? We're not going to judge him. You know, all love is valid. But you know what? Hoshida reminds me a lot of Harada, just in like he's a big stocky guy and he's very serious. Harada does not have that relationship with his bat or his glove, so there is that difference there. But damn, what a way to end off the episode by having him like get in there and just tried so hard and he managed to nail it. Nope, did not get him off balance. Ichidai is a really good batter, and he got it. At least he only made it to second, so there's that. At least he just got to second base, but still. That puts him in range to score. And he's like, oh, that was a close call. He barely made it. Yep. Now, had this been Sawamura from last season, this would put a big dent in Sawamura and his confidence. But we will see next episode if that is going to be the same case or not. We'll see if that ends up, you know, denting his spirits or dampering it, or what we're going to do from there, you know? So then I want to go through the after credits. So Inashiro's there in their big bright purple shirts. Shirakawa looking like he's in an emo band. What else do we get? I want to see if there's anything else. We get Parrot Face. I'm sure Sawamura is frustrated, but I'm sure he's also like, I'm fine. Everything's okay. You don't have to try to cheer me up. I'm good. We'll see. And then Amahisa. Kuramochi! He looks great. I can't wait to see what he's frustrated about. And Sawamura's like, here's what we're going to do. Kanemaru, getting ready. If that's what I think it is, I wonder if they're going to end the episode with that, or if that's going to be the midway point, or what we're going to get. Okay. Because if that's what I think it is, it's Amahisa coming up to the plate and Miyuki being like, this guy. And Amahisa being like, look at how he glares at me. Final boss. I'm going to fangirl so hard. I'm so ready. So ready. So excited. Yes. Episode 7. Come on, Zono. Yep. Oh, I'm so ready. Kuramochi looking like just on fire. So exciting! Yes! Great. I'm so hyped. I'm so ready for it. This was just, we just got the first inning, and it's episode 6. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 7 innings. Maybe we'll get to more than that I feel like we're going to finish up this game at the end of this season and then preface the game to come, or at least show, like, I won't be surprised if they montage Inashiro versus Sugata. I won't be surprised. And then they build up for the finals. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, I'm really excited. I look forward to hearing your thoughts down below. But my dog just bumped me. Like he wants to go out. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon to talk about episode 7 of Ace of the Diamond Act 2 Season 2, and I'll see you then. Bye!